Kris.
And I'm Wyatt Elliott from Notebook Entertainment.
And you're watching Review This.
That was wonderful.
Bravo!
I loved that.
Oh, it was great.
Well, it was pretty good.
Well, it wasn't bad.
It stinks.
Right, so we've been talking about it on the news for a while. We finally got to the end of it, found the time. Loved every second of it.
Holy
All of Us
crap.
Are Dead.
So good.
Korean zombie series based on a graphic novel. I have not gotten the chance to read the graphic novel, but I'm definitely going to because I love the series. So I'd really like to see what goes on in the graphic novel. If it's the same, if it holds up. And if it not, maybe I can do a comparison video later or something.
I'm dying to find out if there's more to the story because the series definitely leaves it open. So.
It leaves it open, but they also covered a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
they did. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, they did. They covered
a lot.
everything, really. Like, there's not a lot of loose ends.
Yep. So I want to start by talking about the characters, and I'm going to start by apologizing as I normally do when we've got difficult names. Obviously not difficult for them, but difficult for me. So I apologize in advance. But we're going to start with Soo Hyuk, which I nicknamed him Mr. Badass. This kid was awesome.
Yeah, he was.
He's just like bouncing off walls, kicking zombies and shit. Like
right, like this kid's moves, man. Like I called him out as an MVP, and then the Archer.
Yeah.
Girl as an MVP.
Hari, which we'll get to her. But I was like, okay, this kid's an action star. Like,
for real.
It's amazing.
For real.
Then we've got Nam Ra, and I called her Prez, because that's what everyone else was calling her, because she's the class president. Mm-hmm. And her character definitely goes through some things, and she's super interesting. She's one of my favorites.
Yeah, I honestly was surprised that she's in the entire series. Like, what happens to her?
Yeah.
We're doing spoilers, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, this is full spoilers,
This is full
guys.
spoilers. Okay, yeah. So here's your warning right now. Full spoilers. But yeah, there's people in the show that kind of become like half zombie, half
they call them hombies.
Human. They call them hombies, which is an interesting idea because they're kind of smart zombies.
Right. And she, like, right at the end, the very last episode, she fully turns and, like, eats somebody, but she still is able to, like, come back and be human by the end.
Yeah.
So,
and she doesn't ever fully turn. I thought they were going to, like, fully turn, but just, like, later or something.
No, her and the other ones that we see like that, they never fully go one way or the other. No. So once you're a zombie, you're a zombie.
I guess you're a zombie for life, right.
We compared it to, basically, she's like Blade.
Yeah.
Where she's a zombie, half zombie, but she can kill other zombies.
She's the day walker.
Yeah. So then we're gonna move on to we'll just move on to Chiang San, and I nicknamed him Mr. Friendzone. This kid is amazing. Like they all brag about how he's the fastest kid in the school, and he sure as fuck is. Like this kid can move.
And honestly, he's an MVP too. Like he's a badass in his own right.
Yeah. And then we've got Onju, who's I nicknamed her Girl Next Door, and she's the one. She likes Soo Hyuk, but Soo Hyuk likes Nam Ra, and Chiang San likes Onjo, but Onjo, like, yeah, it's a whole thing. It's a whole thing, those four.
Which is funny because the whole thing takes place in a high school.
Right.
And therefore there would be high school dynamics, high school drama, and they have all that in here.
They do, yeah.
And, like, some of the kids are worried about their SAT scores and stuff.
Right! Like, did you make the team? Like, I don't think there's a team anymore.
Right.
Like,
I don't think that's a priority anymore.
But I do love at the end, the one girl, and we'll get to her, but she's, the whole time, she's a senior, and she's worried about she's not going to grade well to get in. And so at the very end in the camp, she's wearing a billboard that says, you should let students who went through this automatically go to university.
Right.
I was like, I feel her.
Because was she the one who said that being a high school senior is worse than what they went through?
She's like, you guys survive, and you become seniors next year, and you tell me which one's harder.
Yeah.
I'm like, I love her.
Good luck.
That's Mi Jin. And I nicknamed her Emo Daria, or, you know.
Yeah, I liked her.
I liked her a lot.
She was fun.
I liked her a lot.
Yeah.
Then we have Na Yeon, and I nicknamed her Fuck That Bitch, a.k.a. Pink Sweater.
Pink Sweater,
because fuck that bitch.
Seriously.
Like, oh my god. So you're gonna infect a kid because you're mad that he pushed you at the beginning of the day before all of this hell broke out. This kid pushes her, and so she eventually winds up, like, and we'll talk about this later, but she winds up infecting him on purpose. Like, fuck you, bitch.
She also called him a wealthy because he's a poor person. He's on welfare. His family's on welfare, and she mustn't be rich or whatever. So, yeah, she's just a bad person.
She's a bad person. And later she's, like, hiding, and she's upset because they're all talking bad about her, so she doesn't give them the food and drinks and stuff that she knows is in there while they're all starving. Yeah. Like, fuck that bitch.
She's a bad person.
Then we've got young Sue, who is the kid that she murders. Basically,
she does. No, it's murder.
He's poor. He and his friends are running through the courtyard at the very beginning of the series, and, like, he runs into her or shoves her or something. Probably because she's a bitch to him every day. I mean...
Yeah.
I mean, it's never okay to shove anyone. It's never okay for boys to shove girls, but, like... this girl's a bitch. Like,
there's no reason for what she does to him.
Yeah, there's no reason.
But
it's
murder.
It's murder. It's straight up murder. She murdered someone.
And I'm glad that the rest of the students saw it that way, too.
Right. So then we've got Dae-Soo, who I nicknamed Superman, but I also called him Hodor throughout the thing.
I called him Hodor.
He reminds me of Hodor so much. This big, lovable guy who, like, and especially when he was, like, holding the door.
Right.
I was like, Hodor!
He was definitely Hodor. But he doesn't... His fate isn't Hodor.
No, I'm so shocked that he's one of the ones that made it all the way to the end. Like, I'm glad he did because I love him, but
I am too, because he had this thing with this girl, and I thought once he confessed his love to her, well, that's the end of him.
Right, but no. It kept him, and I'm glad.
Which, by the way, turned out to be funny.
Right, so she beat his ass. Like, it's funny. Then we've got Gui Nam, which I nicknamed Die Already, You Asshole. And he becomes a super zombie, Hambi.
Because he's like a fucking Terminator.
It's too much.
He doesn't stay dead.
Yeah, we'll get into that too, but it's too much of him. And then we've got Ha-Ri, who I nicknamed Katniss Bishop.
Yeah, she was a badass.
She's very much like Katniss, and then she's very much like Kate Bishop, and so she's Katniss Bishop.
She's an expert with a bow.
She's super expert with a bow. I don't know how she didn't make the national team. Like,
right.
How did this girl not make the national team?
I love in the end when, like, her brother...
is dying,
She reunites with her brother, and her brother's like, I know you didn't make it.
Right, as he's dying.
He's dying.
He's like, but keep shooting arrows.
Yeah, I know you didn't make it. That's why you're here.
And then we already mentioned Mi-Jin, which is Emo Daria. Loved her.
Well.
Then we've got Yoon-Ji, and she's this girl, I called her bullied girl, but she gets bullied so bad. Like, at the very beginning, Gui Nam and his group of bullies are, like, forcing her to take her shirt off and videotaping her.
It's hard,
and it's hard to watch.
It's nauseating.
It's hard to watch. And then in class, he, like, writes slut and stuff on her shirt, and Yeah, I'd say she tries to set the school on fire. She thinks she succeeds, but I'd say if anyone had the right to burn that school down, it was definitely Yoon-Ji. So, that poor girl. And then we've got Isaac, who I nicknamed Best BFF Ever. I cried when she died. She was Eunjo's best friend.
Yeah, she was cool. She went way too soon.
Yeah, she should have been around longer. She was a way cool character. Then we've got Byung Chain, who I nicknamed Mr. Mad Scientist, and he's the one who started this whole thing. His son was getting bullied, and the school wasn't doing anything about it, and was kind of covering it up, just like they were doing for Yoon-Ji. And so his father decided he was going to make him, like, super soldier, basically. Super soldier serum.
I understood that reference.
Right, he was trying to make Captain America. And instead, he made zombie Captain America, so...
And he ended up infecting his son and his wife.
Yeah, well, his son bit his wife or something, Well, still. And then he kept them all chained up and was experimenting on them and trying to figure out a cure, and there was none.
And he's like a chemist in the high school.
Yeah. Well, he used to be something else, and then he because they were, like, when they were interviewing him or interrogating him at the police station.
They did say
they're like, oh, well, you must have fallen far if you're a high school teacher now. And I'm like, hey, somebody has to do it. Like,
right. And maybe you get burned out at the other job, you know?
Then we have Miss Park, and I named her Miss Why Do You Only Care About One Student Who's Complete Trash? Like, she was a bad teacher.
She kept defending the pink sweater girl, like, a lot.
A lot. Like, and this girl was being horrible, and she'd be horrible to the kids, so the kids would talk back, and the teacher would be like, well, don't pick on her.
Right.
And I'm like, she started it.
Like, fair. Like, fair is fair, guys. You know, like, if you're going to start it, then...
And then she murders a kid. All the other kids are like, she did it. And the teacher's like, well, let's not corner her. I'm like, the bitch is a murderer. Like, are you kidding me, Miss Park? Are you kidding me?
That's right.
I'm glad she died because she was trying to save that dumb whore.
I was just going to say, she got hers justifiably because that pink sweater girl was the cause of her death, basically.
Right.
So.
Right.
Okay.
So then we've got Soju, who I nicknamed Liam Neeson, and that's Onjo's father. So then we have Soju, and I nicknamed him Liam Neeson.
Rightfully so.
Like he goes all out to find his daughter, who is Onju.
Because the only thing he doesn't have is him on the
Onjo.
phone with a zombie going, "I will find you and I will kill you."
Right, exactly. But he's otherwise completely Liam Neeson.
Yeah.
Like he's kicking so much ass. And I'm like, because they start him off as he's like an EMT or whatever. And I'm glad they rounded it out to explain. No, he's also was special forces and stuff. So there's a reason that he's a vet. He not just my daughter's in danger, so I'm gonna turn into a vet. Like he's got
skills.
He's got skills.
He does.
And then finally we've got the Assemblywoman, and I don't remember her name. I nicknamed her the politician because that's what she is.
Yeah.
And I go through liking and not liking her back and forth throughout, which is probably fair since she's a politician.
She turns out decent in the end.
Yeah, in the end, I like that she doesn't sign the resignation letter they want her to sign. That she's like, no, you bombed my district. Like, fuck you guys. So I do like that.
She's got some things to say.
But there's parts where she's like, well, there's a part where she's like, imagine how we spin this because she lies to cover up Liam Neeson going off to look for his daughter. So and the guy's like, it's a lie. His partner is like, it's a lie, and she's like, well, imagine how we can spin this, and he'll be a hero either way if we can spin it the right way. And I'm like, oh, it's such politics. So, and then there's three more characters that I didn't get the names of, and one is a detective that he starts off interrogating the mad scientist. And then there's his another cop who apparently just graduated from Seoul University, and so he calls him Seoul the whole time. It's like kind of a put down because he's brand spanking new to the force and can't handle it. And they wind up finding an abandoned baby that this poor child from the high school, like, as all this zombie stuff is happening around her, she's getting sick. And I told him, I was like, she's not bitten. That girl's pregnant, guaranteed. I was like, the big baggy clothes, the way she's carrying her backpack to cover, I was like, that girl's pregnant. That's what's wrong with her. Sure enough, she stumbles off and goes and has her baby in a park bathroom. And at first she's going to abandon the baby, which, I mean, she's probably like 14, 15, so not cool, but I get it.
Right.
You give birth to a baby in a bathroom in a playground, like,
Yeah.
Okay, so, but she comes out of the bathroom and she sees all hell's breaking loose. And so she does the right thing and she goes back and gets her baby, and she winds up getting bitten while trying to get away. And so she goes into the chicken place, which is Chiang Sun's mom runs the chicken place, and it's named Chiang Sun's Chicken because she loves her son so much.
She puts his face up on the logo.
I love
it's
his
like
mom.
Wendy's, you know?
Right,
His
it's
face is up
amazing.
there, and he's a little embarrassed
He's
about
so embarrassed by it. He hates it. But, oh my God, she's amazing.
Yeah.
But so the girl winds up in the chicken place, and she blockades the baby and then ties herself to the door because she knows. And I'm like, that's maternal instinct right there. So, but the detective, he's cool. I do like him. I like that he took the baby and then this little, like, 4-year-old child as well and got them to safety, and they all wound up surviving in the camp. So, and
he also saved the YouTube guy, right?
Yeah, the YouTube guy is the third guy that I wanted to say. I didn't get his name, but
He's not
this
much
dumbass in a chicken hat decides that he's gonna go because they blockaded off the Hyosun, which is the town, and this dumbass decides that he for views and likes and shit is gonna go break in, and then you see, like, as he's running and there's zombies chasing him, you see people commenting like, "Is this real? Run,
great.
dude! You should hide. Why did you even go?" You know, like, it's fantastic.
Yeah, but tell me that wouldn't happen in real life.
For real.
That would happen no matter where where the outbreak is. There would be somebody on TikTok or YouTube.
Yep, going in for likes. Hopefully not wearing that dumbass chicken hat, but whatever.
Hey, whatever gets the views.
Whatever gets the views, I guess. I would not watch that, but...
I mean, if I was safe at home and he was out there, I would watch that.
I mean,
I would watch the fuck out of that.
I guess I would too. But he winds up, like, breaking his leg and getting stuck on a roof, and so the detectives have to rescue him, and then the other detective, like, drives off and leaves him, and you think that he abandoned him, but then he comes back with a bus, and it's a whole thing.
Yeah, like, I thought for sure the YouTube guy was going to be the downfall of this poor detective.
Right.
You know, like...
I was like, this guy's so cool. Like, it's your fault he dies. I was going to be mad. But they all lived, so even the YouTuber guy.
he survives to make another video.
Right.
I hope he's making videos in the quarantine, you know?
Right.
Like,
show how it really is.
Yeah.
They probably took his phone. Plus, they cut off...
Oh. Got a little excited, guys.
Got a little excited. Plus, they cut off internet access and phone service and everything. So, just as the kids were about to like get online and get an outside line for help, they cut down the internet. I was like, ah!
Which this show did a great job at how getting rid of phones, getting rid of technology, so that way they were truly stranded.
And that's one of the things that I have. So let's move on to things we liked about it. And going off of that, one of the things I did like is that they showed all the sides of a zombie outbreak. And what would probably really happen. They showed the people who are just trying to survive it. Mm-hmm. They showed the way the politicians are still trying to spin things and still trying to, you know. They showed the way the government and the military reacts in real time to a new virus. And I found it all super interesting.
Oh, yeah. It's very interesting. And again, like you said, it's handled very realistically. I think for the most part, like there wasn't anything in this entire show that was like that would never happen.
Right, other than the zombies, maybe.
Right, the zombies. If you accept that and you accept the human
then
zombies,
everything else makes sense.
Mm-hmm, exactly.
The way, they call it a virus, and so the way that the military handles it and everything, that's how the military would probably handle a virus like that.
Yeah, and
that spread so quickly.
And I love the way the politicians and the adults, they handled it like it was a virus, like it was something, maybe there was a cure. The kids knew because they seen
they were like, it's Train to Busan.
They
it's
knew
zombies.
they were zombies.
Like,
they already knew there was no hope.
Yeah. They were like, we need science to back us up on this, and the kids are like, those are fucking zombies.
That's exactly right. I mean, fair if it really happened. But again, like I was telling her when we were watching it, like, okay, if this really happened, you would try to salvage them, try to experiment on them, try to figure
it out the virus.
And by the end, they do figure out they're dead. They are clinically dead. Yep. It is the virus that is keeping their bodies going.
Except for the humbeats.
Except for the
because they said that she's got a regular heartbeats, but it's still there.
Yes.
So, because, they wind up getting Yoon-ji, and so they experiment a little, or observe her, and that's how they figure out, because the kids figured out way long ago that noise is what drives these zombies, which is amazing. Mm-hmm. It's not smell. It is smell for the zombies, because we see Gui Nam, but, and even Nam Ra talk about she can smell stuff. Mm-hmm. But the other zombies, it seems to be more sound that they're following rather than smell, like the full zombies.
Yeah, because that's how they get them to kind of all coordinate in one spot.
These kids are brilliant. Like, I worry that if this movie were to be Americanized, like, our kids would not do as well.
Please don't make an American version
Please
of this.
don't.
Please.
That's not an invitation. We don't need it. This was fantastic.
Yes, thank you.
So I also liked most of the kids. I mean, obviously, fuck Na-yeon and Jinam, or Guinam. But the rest of the kids, each one of them was interesting. Mm-hmm. Each one of them had a story and a background and made you feel for them, whether they lived or died.
Mm-hmm. They were unique. They were all individuals. They felt like individuals.
Mm-hmm. They felt like real kids.
The acting is good in this.
Fantastic.
Like,
Fantastic
these are real.
acting.
You can tell these are not 30-year-olds playing children.
Right. These are actually
real
children.
Kids. And, like, they all did just so
phenomenally.
Like, after Squid Game and this, and then, thinking back to Train to Busan and everything, and, like...
And Parasite, too, right?
And Parasite, like, go Korea, man.
Yeah,
like,
Korea's killing it in the horror genre.
Killing it.
I also really like the way the zombies moved. I told him it looks like they hired a bunch of, like, contortionists.
Yes.
Because it was amazing the way they moved.
And Train to Busan was the same way.
Yeah.
So if you liked that, you're going to love this. Think of Train to Busan off the train.
The way they move and the scuttling around, it was amazing.
And, like, I was trying to figure out, because... they're not filming them in front of a green screen. So as a technical editor, I'm like, how are they making them move so tricky? So I think the actors really had to learn how to do that.
They had to, because it does. It looks like they got contortionists. The way some of them were moving and the way they would snap back and
they
stuff.
were like spider crawling.
It was so cool to watch.
And I know it's sound effects and everything, but it was definitely, they had to have contortionists because they're flipping their legs around and that's how they get up. Like, they figure out later that in order to stop them, you just break their legs, Because,
right. Yeah, her dad was doing it. Liam Neeson was doing it.
Liam Neeson was doing it, But, like, which is cool because, okay, you can't kill them, slow them down. But in this movie, like, they keep coming no matter what.
Yeah, I think finally they figured out if you cut, like, the jugular or something.
Yeah, jugular.
To the neck. Because they were hitting them in the head and they were keep going. Everything.
Right, you gotta completely smash the brain, cut their head off, or jugular.
Or set them on fire, apparently.
Well, yeah.
Does that seem to work?
That seemed to do it.
And then I like the story. Mm-hmm. The story itself, it was like watching a zombie soap opera.
Yes.
The whole time, every episode, there was never a point where I was like, this is boring, can we move on already? Like, every part felt important. Every part felt like it belonged.
Yes.
So I was fully enthralled in the story the whole way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was too. Like, there wasn't a moment where it was boring. It starts off immediately in the middle of, and you're just pulled in immediately. Right. There's no slow, like, cause my old roommate used to watch a lot of Korean soap operas, and I would catch them and everything and watch them, while I was on my computer and stuff. And, like, there's a lot of melodrama. There's a lot. So I was kind of expecting that, but no.
I watched telenovelas with my grandma and my aunt, and that's just soap operas, like, in general. Whether Korean, whether it's telenovelas, whether it's General Hospital, it's all the same. Like,
very much so.
It's very melodramatic. But it fit here around all the zombies. Like, it was amazing.
It was really cool.
It was really cool. The makeup and CGI work, the way they made it work together.
Amazing. The only time that you could tell was CGI was sometimes when there was a bunch of zombies falling off a cliff or something, or, but...
But there's this point where you see this kid and you can see the infection, you can see the veins in his... It
pulsating
looks so
in her
cool.
face. Like,
God, it looks so cool.
Yeah, no, it was very cool. Like, even the CGI that I just mentioned is not bad. You can just tell it's CGI. It's like Marvel. You can tell when they're bouncing off things that it's CGI. Yeah. Like...
But it didn't bother me here at all.
No.
At all. I think it was pretty seamless.
No, I'm really nitpicking.
And then their scares and the feels both got me. Because, like, there's a lot of parts where you are on the edge of your seat, and I was like, no.
Oh, yeah. I kept looking over at her to watch. Like, she makes shows so much more fun sometimes. Because, she'd be like this, all curled up.
Like, don't kill him. No, not Hodor.
But I found myself being the same way, though. Like, I found myself talking to the TV way more in this show than I did in a lot of them.
Right. You're like, go.
Right. Like, suddenly I'm like, okay, I'm in a theater, and, and I'm yelling at the screen. Like...
But then there's so many parts that if they didn't make me downright cry, they made me tear up. There, of course, when Isaac died. And that's our first major character death. And again, she was Onjo's best friend. And not only did they kill her, but as she's, like, dangling by Onjo's hand, they show us flashbacks of how great their friendship was.
Yeah.
And
it was stuff that we hadn't seen before, so it made it even worse because you're like, oh, okay, now we see other happy moments in their life.
Then, when Cheong-san's mother, the one that loves him so much, she named her business after him and everything.
That one was
When
hard
she got bitten, she had just gotten to the high school, because she was looking for him. And so she had just gotten to the high school, just made it onto, like, the football field or whatever, and got bitten. And I was like, no, she didn't even get to find her son. What?
Well, then it comes really hard later.
Right. And then later when Cheong-san runs into her after she's been turned, that's a heartbreaking scene.
Right. And his friends don't know it's his mom.
Right. So Hodor is sitting there beating her because it's a zombie, and finally, because he tackles Hodor away and, like, starts beating him.
Yeah.
And finally he's like, Mom! And they all stop because they didn't know that was his mom. And it's just heartbreaking.
Because remember, a couple of these people are friends from back before this happened.
The zombie.
But a lot of them, they weren't.
They were just in the same class.
Exactly. So this made them friends.
Right.
So they didn't know that was his mom. He didn't really know his background. Probably didn't know he
right.
had a
At that
store.
point, the only one left alive that would have known that was his mom is Own Joe.
Yeah.
Everyone else that would have known that was his mom is already dead. He already lost all his other friends. Which is sad.
And I mean, and I kept... This is where a part where I was screaming at the screen, because I was like, don't watch. Because, and I realized it's hard. He sees it's his mom. He's already devastated. She's gone.
Just don't look.
But now they're having to kill her, and he's watching, and of course he flips out.
Right. Don't look. Just...
You could... Yeah.
Break her leg and move on if you don't want to kill her, but, like, just go. That's a hard one.
Horrible.
That's a hard one. And then another sad part was when Nya-yeon infects Jeong-soo and he turns. And this is what this bitch does. Okay, so she has been fighting with all these kids this whole time because she's a rich, stuck-up bitch who thinks that she should be getting I don't know, special treatment.
Yeah,
I don't
something.
know.
Yeah.
I hate her. I hate her so
awful.
much.
She's just awful.
And at this point, they've all gotten to the music room, and what's his name? Jeong-soo has like a scratch, and he's like, it's a scratch, and all his friends are sticking up for him, it's a scratch, and she's like, no, he's gonna turn, and she's freaking out. So to appease her, Miss Park and the kids suggest that he goes and isolates himself in the other room. And I'm like, how's that fair? If she's the one who's scared, isolate her. Yeah. Whatever. But so he's like, fine, I'll stay in there a whole hour to prove that I'm not gonna. Because they're like, just 20 minutes is fine. He's like, no, I'm gonna stay a whole hour. And then they get on him for having an attitude. I'm like, of course he's got an attitude.
Well, yeah, because I want to point out, we haven't mentioned this yet, they turn super fast.
Yeah.
When you get bit, you've got maybe 5 minutes.
Right, maybe.
Like, before you die and then turn. Like, it's super aggressive.
Super fast.
So 20 minutes would have been plenty.
Right. But he was being sullen, and he was upset that this was being accused, and he's been dealing with this bitch all day.
Yeah.
So he's like, fine, I'll stay in there an hour, and they're all like, why is he being such an asshole? And I'm like, cause.
No, he had a right to be an asshole at that point. I probably would have done the same thing. I've been like, well, fuck you.
So
guys.
then they send her in there eventually when it's clear that he's not going to turn. They send her in there to apologize. And they all think she is because it's a soundproof room or whatever. And she takes his hand and makes like she's going to wipe off the blood from his cut. But what she has secretly done is used her handkerchief or whatever and wiped it on a stake that they had used to get another zombie. So she mixed the zombie blood into his wound.
Murder.
Why? Because she didn't want to be wrong. Nope. That's why she did it. That's the only reason that bitch did it, because she didn't want to be wrong.
Yep. So this kid has no idea that she even did that to him.
Right. So then he's out there. He starts turning. Everyone's like, what? Finally, thank God for Nam Ra, the class president, and because she's smart, and she's like, wait a minute.
Yeah, she's
And so
smart.
she was able to put it together, and she starts accusing him, and all the other kids start accusing her, and they're like, oh yeah, well then take your take the thing you wiped his with, and wipe it on one of your open wounds. And she wouldn't. And so that's when all the kids are like, she fucking murdered him. And Miss Park is like, oh, don't gang up on her to protect her. We shouldn't be. I was like, that dude just had to trick his best friend to jump out the window because he's a zombie, and you're worried about her? Fuck that bitch.
Yeah, horrible person.
Fuck Miss Park too. I'm glad she died trying to save that girl, because this dumbass girl then turns and runs out the.
But you know what's frustrating though? But I understand why they did it. I guess from an artistic point of view. But the pink sweater girl and the teacher, when they run out of the room, they don't show what happens.
No,
to them
for like 2
or 3 episodes later. And then it's like, but when it does come around, you're like, finally get to find out what happens to this bitch. And it's, she dies.
A pointless death.
And it was, I believe it was the pink sweater girl's fault, wasn't it?
Yeah. Well, because she's the one who, first of all, she's the one who ran out of the room, so Miss Park had to, Miss Park abandons all these other children to chase down this one girl. What is so special about this fucking girl?
Yeah. Good teacher.
Right. Oh.
She must have been a favorite of hers, is all I can think of.
Right.
She had to have been.
I don't know. But then there's another sad part at the end. Cheong-song gets bitten. And he gets bitten by Guinam, which I'll get into that and stuff I hate. But the whole Guinam situation is that's one of the things I don't like. But we'll get into that. But he gets bitten by Guinam, and then to take Guinam out, he stays behind while the others run, and the military's bombing the school, and he and Guinam get engulfed in this, like, flame. And so we're assuming he's dead.
Yeah, but the great part is he uses him as a human shield.
Right.
Like, he grabs him, ducks behind him, and they both go flying back into the elevator shaft.
And you're like, oh, cool, he used him as a shield. But then you see them falling, and the fire catches up to them and engulfs them both.
And then
you're
later
like,
they cut back to just a pile
and it's
of
all
ashes
ash,
and bodies.
Yeah.
So,
And then the name tag that she gave him.
So I assume he's dead. But
but
if you don't see a body,
there's no body. So that was super sad. And then right after that, Onju, Seok, and Nam Ra go to look for him, and they take a moment to basically say goodbye to him because they know that he's gone. And this is right after Onju has kind of accepted that he likes her, and they're lifelong friends.
Of
my
course.
God, it's just heartbreaking.
And I feel like at that point, because they both sit down, and after the confession, he likes her and blah blah, and he's depressed and sad, and she tells him, look, we're going to talk about this in 2 or 3 days. Once this is over, we can sit down and have a meal, because she's motivating him to live.
Right, because this is after he's seen his mother dead, too.
Correct, and she's really trying to, which I thought was brilliant.
Yeah.
She's like, look, I'm not saying no. I'm not saying yes. I'm saying we're going to
We'll
talk.
talk about next week.
Yep. There's always next week.
So then, another sad part, her father, Liam Neeson, finally finds her, and then like 5 minutes later, he gets bitten and dies right in front of her.
But he does save her because they're locked in the gym and from the outside, and he finds it. So he does. He
does his job. He saves her. He's the reason that those kids survive because they follow the things that he ties around the trees and everything.
Right. Like he goes to the store and breaks in and steals ribbon, and we're like, is he using it as his rope?
Right, I was like, is he making decorations?
Right,
what is he doing? And then the next scene, they show him tying it around trees. I was like, oh, he's leaving a trail. I was like, we're dumb.
He's using it as
we would not survive.
Like, no.
We would not
At that moment, I'm like, all right, I'm dead. Got it.
So he dies. And so after she's kind of, upset and everything and kind of comatose and numb, Cheong-sun says, hey, we'll talk about it in a week, to kind of motivate her.
And that helps her.
And then right after that, he gets bitten and then has to die fighting Guinam.
Which I'm conflicted on whether that final fight was satisfying.
It was not.
Because I wanted Guinam to die.
Yeah, we'll talk about that, and I've got it all. Yeah, we'll talk about that. But anyway. Then the final sad moment we've gotten is when Ha-ri, the whole reason she's been shooting arrows and running around the school of death is because she's looking for her brother, her little brother. They finally reunite. They're out in the town. They finally got out of school. They're in the town. They're making their way to the edge of town to get to where safety borders are. And they get attacked by zombies. And her brother, shoves her out of the way and lands on top of her with a zombie biting his neck. So he basically dies right on top of her. So that was really sad, too. So, yeah, there's a lot of really powerful, sad moments in this.
Yeah, I would compare this show to the early seasons of The Walking Dead, when The Walking Dead had emotion and characters you liked.
Things you cared about.
Right, before they just beat it into the ground. That's reminding me of my emotional experience is better with this show, as far as involvement. But I would compare it to that. So if you like early Walking Dead,
you're going to love this.
You're going to love this.
This was amazing. So let's get into the stuff we didn't like, and I'm gonna start with Guinam. First, he was too unkillable. Second, I don't think. Okay, so I think Yoon-ji should have been the one once she became a Hambi and as strong as him. I was rooting the whole time that she was gonna find Guinam and kill him. I think she deserved to be the one to kill him because he's the one that held her down while she's had to have her shirt taken off and videotaped, ruin her life. He's the one who was gonna put the video out or did schedule the video to go out of her topless. Against her will. He's the one who was writing slut on her back. She should have been the one to have the face-off with Guinam, and that's where you would have found your satisfaction in the final battle, because the thing with, they made this stupid vendetta between Cheong-sun and Guinam because Cheong-sun saw Guinam kill the principal.
Yeah, and that was later.
That's
that was after the
right.
zombie
It's so
thing
stupid. It's such a stupid reason for Guinam to suddenly have this fixation on Cheong-sun. Who cares if you killed the principal? What are the chances that anyone is going to survive?
Right, exactly.
Who cares that you killed the principal?
Yeah. Because the principal had turned, didn't he?
Yeah, Guinam was a Hambi, and the principal didn't know, and the principal wanted Guinam to go out and run and start the car.
And okay, I remember now. So and let's be fair, the principal was a terrible person.
I was rooting for him to die.
Yeah,
this principal, I was rooting for him to die.
So yeah, that's why it wasn't satisfying because who cares about the principal?
Right,
it wasn't anything.
Yeah, it would have been way more satisfying if Yoon-ji had gotten to go against Guinam.
Yeah, I'm really glad you mentioned that, because I think that's exactly what it is.
That's exactly what it is. That's the only problem in the entire story is they made this vendetta out of nothing for Guinam and Cheong-sun to have this kind of showdown at the end, when the real satisfying showdown would have been her getting back at her bullies.
Yes. That would have been very satisfying.
Instead, she gets taken to the internment camp and winds up eating the other kid that got bullied with her, that guy was a piece of shit, too. Grow up hair, dude.
I'm trying to remember at the end of the show. She's still alive?
I think so. I don't know, because they show them scrubbing down the rooms that she and the other guy were held in.
Right.
So I don't know where she is. She could be they could have found a way to kill her. She could be under more experimentation. Yeah.
Okay.
So we don't really see where she is. So that's my hope for season 2 is that she is still kind of alive. But we'll get to that in season.
This guy though, he gets his eye gouged out at one point and scratched out. He gets shot. He gets
thrown out the window. He gets thrown off a roof a couple times.
Right.
Like this kid was too unkillable.
He was a Terminator for sure.
I didn't like how unkillable he was. At all.
Yeah, and that's the other thing I didn't like. I didn't like in the final fight at the end that with the kid that he was gouging his eye out.
Right.
Which I have a thing in squeamish about eyes.
I
anyways.
don't.
But
more eye gore.
It's the one thing that gets me.
I love eye gore.
That's why I wear glasses. But I don't know. I didn't care for that because it just felt like there was no. He didn't gouge the guy's eye out. There was, you know what I mean? Like, it was just, I don't know. I didn't care for it.
I don't like Wee Nam at all. You're not supposed to, but I don't like how they handled his character.
No, and I would say that's what I don't like is the final showdown. And you're absolutely right. She should have been the one to kill him.
The whole
because
time,
as a villain,
I was sitting there rooting. I was like, find him, because every time she would get, there was this one moment where she realized, I guess, that she was stronger, and she pulled her hair back in a ponytail, and she put on lipstick, and I was like, get it, girl. Yeah. Like it's like when Shania Twain is like, let's go, girls, and I'm like, I could kick down a fucking door. That's how I felt watching her pull her hair back and put on her lipstick. I was like, all right, let's go get that son of a bitch. And she never does, and it's very unsatisfying.
Wee Nam is a good villain in the fact that you hate him. You hate him from the very start, but he reminds me of, after watching this and now in the Squid Game, they're villains, like the guy Deoksu or something like that. From that. He was just super villainous, super evil, super
just pushing people off and shit.
Kind of cartoonish almost in a way of his villainy.
Right, like you've already got the villain for Squid Games, you already had the villain of like the people running the games. You didn't need a player in the game to be the villain too.
Right.
Just like this, like you already had the zombies and sort of the military kind of being the villain. You didn't need Wee Nam.
But they always do. Walking Dead and all zombie movies have the people that are also... Half the time it's the people that are worse than the zombies on these movies and shows. Like, and I don't doubt for a single minute that that's how it would be in real life.
Right, totally true. That's just life.
So yes, my point is he is a good villain, but it's not satisfying how he ends.
Yep. And we already covered Miss Park. Yeah, basically, Miss Park and Wee Nam were my two least favorite parts of this. And not even Wee Nam, just how he was handled.
Yes.
Was how I didn't like
Miss Park
it.
was just frustrating
as hell. Like, I was like, lady, you're abandoning all these other kids for this one stuck-up bitch.
For somebody in a responsibility role...
She wasn't very responsible.
No. She was horrible. So, yeah, I won't remember
But otherwise, everything else was so good.
So good. Like, this show was... It killed us to turn it off. Like, the first time we watched it, we watched one or two episodes. One episode.
And we were like, oh, fuck, we don't have time for any more. But
and then after that, we watched like 2, and then after that was like 3, and
6. And then we watched like 6 of them. Yeah. And then
we just had to. Like, we were like, oh, we're going to watch these Archive 81, and we're going to watch The Girl in the Window, and we're going to watch... No. Nope. This show had to get watched.
This show I had to finish this, and I'm glad we did, because I love it. Love it.
And I want to point out we did watch it in the original Korean language with the English subtitles. I don't know if I assume it's probably like Squid Game where it's horrible if you watch the dub.
Didn't even look.
But if you have to watch dubbed, I'd still give the show a watch.
Yes.
Because it's that good.
It's so good. Yeah. But if you don't mind reading they leave it up long enough. Like,
it didn't take anything away from me at all. I think it made it better because you get to enjoy their real performances.
Yes.
And you get to hear
and you're not distracted by, Yeah. All right, so let's finish this off with our hopes for a season 2, if they get a season 2, which, why wouldn't they? Like, didn't they say Squid Games 2? I don't know.
Yes, they did announce Squid Game 2.
So, they should definitely get a season 2.
In fact, they announced not only Squid Game 2, but they're going to start doing a whole Squid Game universe. So.
I don't know about that.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
I want to see him with his little red hair go off and kick some ass. But
he can be Liam Neeson.
That's a whole other story. Let's stick to All of Us Are Dead. If they give us a season 2, I would like for Cheong Song to somehow be alive.
Me too.
I would really like them to figure that out.
I'm going to say a controversial thing here. I wouldn't even mind 100% if Gui Nam turned out to be alive too, because then, and so was the girl that's in the they experimented on, and then maybe they could have a final fight.
Yeah, have Yoon Ji finally kill him.
Because she could be still alive too.
Yeah, we don't know what happened to her. And then the other thing I'd like to see is that Nam Ra and the other Hombies, they do go full blade, and that they're the ones who are going around taking out all the zombies that are still left.
Cool. Like,
I would love for that. And
Yes.
then you can even have her friends who are the surviving kids come and like join them and do,
like
you know.
Blade had his human counterparts
Right.
and everything.
Hari with her arrows and shit.
Yeah.
Like, didn't Jessica Biel in Blade Trinity?
Which I hate that movie, but
she
point.
did. She learned how to shoot it. She trained how to
Yes.
shoot a bow and arrow for that.
So She wasn't the problem with that movie.
No, Wesley Snipes is the problem with that movie.
Well,
Isn't there a part where like they had to like green screen his eyes open because he
Yes.
refused to open his eyes? Like, dude.
He got so cocky and everything by that point that they had to use body doubles. That's why Ryan Reynolds and Jessica Biel are in it a lot more than they were supposed to be, because he stopped showing up to set. There's a whole videos of behind the scenes of that movie. It's
I don't know.
Crazy.
But I would love it if they would go full Blade with Namra and all of the other Hombies. Because she mentions at the end when they meet up with her at the school, they follow the fire and she's there at the school. She mentions that there's others like her, that she's been meeting with them and stuff.
Yeah, well, because the Hombies, when they bite somebody, they turn them into other Hombies from what we've seen.
Yeah.
So if that's true, then they're creating their own race, basically.
Right.
So this could get interesting real fast.
I'd really like them to be the good guys who are like going around taking out the other zombies. I would love that.
It would be cool because they do establish that after the bombings, there's still zombies that are survived.
Yep, because it's like a month later and they're still all in their quarantine camp and all of that. So because the kids have to sneak out of quarantine, and half these kids are now orphans and shit. So where are they even gonna go? Like,
one last character I want to bring up because I hated him at first, but then I understood him.
Oh, the military guy,
the general. Yeah.
That was another sad moment when he went to kill himself. I was like, dude, you don't have to do that. You were just doing what you had to do.
Because he's the one who orders the bombing.
Yeah.
He's also the one who decides to not save the children because they get there on a helicopter. They're
Yeah.
ready to
That's
save them.
heartbreaking.
And the helicopter's there. The kids are getting on, and they're
one
like,
is right there with the helicopter.
And they're like, you gotta get off.
You gotta get off because they were. That's when Eugene was there and she ate the other kid.
Yeah.
And they're like, but she didn't have any symptoms. And they're like, well, we put those kids back because what if they turn while the helicopter's flying or something? So I get it.
Yes. So I was
It's not cool, but I get it.
Exactly. I was mad at the time when he made that decision, but then I put myself in his shoes. And this is what you got to do sometimes. And you don't know. Because they said they don't know if there's cures. They don't know if these people are. They don't know if they're asymptomatic or whatever. And so you have to make the bigger call. So after he does that and after he blows up the town, he goes and leaves. He says, everybody else, you guys finish it up. I'm going to go in my office. And we knew what he was going to do.
Yeah, he's like, you're in charge.
Yeah. And
he calls his wife.
Yeah, and he's got kids and everything. It's like, come on, I get it. I was
like,
though.
Don't do it, dude.
I get it. You know, I do.
Like, I get it. How do you live with that?
Yeah,
that's a lot of guilt to live with.
Lot.
And I think one of the characters even has a line where they're like, "How evil are you allowed to be for the greater good?" or something like that.
Very good line.
It's a good line. I'm not sure it fits here because they tried to evacuate as many people as they did.
And
he had the warnings going out right up until they bombed, saying, "Hey, get to shelter."
Which the kids did here.
Which, that saved the kids.
Yeah, so he did everything he possibly could, and that's why I changed my mind on him, because he started out, they were kind of portraying him as just this military guy who just, doing following orders. But in reality is he had a very hard job and a very hard decision.
And I'm really sad that he killed himself.
So, sorry, but I just wanted to bring him up.
No, that's a good point, because I am sorry that he killed himself.
Yeah.
I don't think he should have. I would hope that therapy could help, but it's hard. It's hard in that situation when everything's going down and,
War as hell.
God, yeah. And that's basically what it was. They were in a war against the zombie virus.
Yep. It's a war. And I'm telling you, there was parts of this show that was very relevant to what's been going on, what's going on. So you can tell this is a very modern-made show.
Right.
Because some of the references were like, oh, yeah.
Well, I think they even mentioned at one point, they mentioned different quarantines or whatever. And they went over, like, SARS and they mentioned COVID.
They sure did. So I don't know what year this is supposed to take place in. I don't think they ever say.
I think it's maybe future. If they're mentioning COVID like it's in the past.
As a past tense, yeah. So it might be a couple years in the future, hopefully. Yeah. Oh, yeah. So we only have to worry about zombie viruses in a couple years. It's fine. It's all fine. It's bound to happen, guys.
It is fine.
We all know it. We're all rooting for it. Come on.
This is fine. Just that dog sitting there in the fire is like, this is fine.
This is fine. Yeah,
I'll fight.
absolutely.
All right, so that's our episode.
Yeah.
Obviously we liked it.
Loved it.
I didn't like 2 of the characters, but that didn't outweigh anything else.
No.
Like, everything else is fantastic.
Very good. Please give it a watch. It's on Netflix right now, the entire series. You can binge it in 10 hours?
No, it's 12 episodes,
12
I think.
up. Okay. Binge it in a cut in 2 6-hour
That's what took us so long.
Right.
Because it is an hour-long show, so we didn't have 12 full hours to just watch TV.
And those hours fly by, believe me.
Yeah.
But yeah, please subscribe if you haven't already, and like this video, and please
let us know your thoughts on it. If you've already watched it, please let us know what you thought. If you think Guinan, like, what are your thoughts on Guinan? Because that's what I'm really interested in. If it's just me, or because I don't know, I just feel it would have been way more satisfying the other way.
I'm very interested. If anybody out there knows of other Korean shows that we should check out, please let us know.
Yes, please let us know, because I'm loving them.
I am loving them. So whether they're on Netflix or not, just tell us where to watch it, because I do want to check some of this stuff out. Yeah. Val, if you're watching, let me know.
Right.
So yeah, that's our show, I think.
So like, subscribe, ring the bell for all our content. We are going to Saturday have our review this for Texas Chainsaw.
Yes. Comes out Friday.
Yep. Sunday we are going to have Horrorland News. That's our new night for Horrorland News. It's Sunday nights.
Yes.
And then Monday we will have another surprise little review about the woman in the house across the street from the girl in the window.
I enjoyed it on a different level.
Such a good show.
Yeah. All right, guys. Thank you for watching. I think that's all we have to say, so I'm going to shut up now.
All right. Have a good night and good fight.
Bye.